Welcome, welcome, welcome. At this very first attempt at recording a YouTube channel, I've no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea why I'm doing it. I must be crazy. But be it as it may, come aboard, mateys. Come aboard. Get on those aprons and let's start cooking while we are afloat. This channel, apron, afloat, and at home, is going to be a fun channel. It's going to be a lekker channel. It's going to be lekker channel. So, I'm originally from South Africa, grew up there, and moved to New Zealand a number of years ago, and absolutely loving it. So, now I've decided to use my 25 years of experience and knowledge that I have gained in the hospitality industry, and I want to share it with you. I'm not going to be a polished show where you think it's Hollywood ready, where you got all the lights and the glitz and the glamours and have a show that is going to be real. Let's be perfectly unperfect, perfectly imperfect. Life is full of other crap and drama and stresses and worries. This is going to be a lekker show. So you'll hear the slurs lekker or yum or lekker is a cracker or fun things like that during the show. Because I'm going to be talking authentically from where I'm coming. Sound and lighting in the beginning might not be 100%, but I'm learning. And if you've got tips or tricks up your sleeve, share it with me. As I'm going to share my tips and my tricks with you with regards to cooking. It's not just going to be a cooking show. Oh no. We're going to be looking at traditional remedies, both from South Africa as well as New Zealand down the line. I'm still building up my knowledge base on that. To make herbal remedies, herbal teas. We're going to make potpourri. We're going to make essential oils. We're going to be making recipes where we are going to be using herbs and spices in the food, which will help your immune system, which will help your system to break the cycle of fast food, fast living. You're not going to need any fancy equipment or fancy this or that or the other. Because here, living on a boat and doing traveling as well, you're very limited with what equipment you have, with what minimum equipment you can use. So for the time being, you need pots and pans, some wire racks, some spoons, some basic spices, and we're going to cook a meal. I've even learned how to figure out how to make a pizza and bread on a stovetop oven. We're still renovating the boat. We're still working on the boat. So some days you might see building stuff sitting around or things might be a little topsy-turvy. But that is what it is going to be about. You'll possibly be taken on some journeys along the coast of New Zealand, which could be fun. I'm going to be looking for little spots and little places onshore or offshore or even at other people's homes to prepare a meal, to show you that you can literally do a decent meal anywhere you want. You don't always have to run to a takeaway. And frankly, funny enough, it's sometimes, and most of the times, cheaper and definitely healthier than stopping at your local takeaway or your big chain takeaways where most people run to because they got cheap, quick deals. But here we want to build community. We want to build family. We want to tie the whānau together. I want to impart knowledge with you that I have learned from my grandmothers, my mother, my father, friends, family, and also books that I have read over the years. And trust me, that's very rare. I'm not a big reader, but when it comes to food, I read. This is going to be a lekker show where we're going to have lekker fun. Young, old, medium, rare, see what I've done? Aged, matured. We're all going to be part of the show. It might not sometimes be politically correct because life is too politically correct sometimes, I feel. There's a time and a place for everything. Now, that all said and done, there's a couple of rules with the show. I'm inviting you on board. You normally need the permission of the captain to get on board. So I'm giving you permission to come on board. But if you misbehave, if you want to run a mutiny, if you don't like the food and you want to throw a hissy fit about it, walk the plank. Walk the plank, and the rest of the community will cheer us on as you walk the plank and fall into the big, wide ocean with the sharks. And you can stay with the sharks because here we don't like sharks. Not all our taste buds are the same. We don't all like the same flavors. We don't all like the same food. But this is the way I've learned how to do things, the way I've been taught, the way I've made things better over my lifetime. And I'm still learning. I might learn something from you, as you might learn something from me. You might not like the dish that I've made, but it might have given you an idea of how you can spice something up that you've got in your recipe book. How you can cook something differently that you've cooked for years, but just adding a different herb or a different spice, or just pre-frying the meat a little bit before you actually do something. Turn it into a roast, or just frying the chicken a little bit brown before you turn it into a stew. You might just walk away with a remedy that might help you get rid of eczema, or a remedy that will prevent you from getting ill in winter, or something to get rid of acne. There's many things. Then, the other thing, what you see is what you're going to get. I'm sitting here, a little bit scruffy on a Saturday morning, because it's Saturday after all, taking it easy, taking it laid back. That's what life is supposed to be like on a boat. Let's be a little bit more laid back. Forget about the world when you're out there. And that's what I want your kitchen to become as well. A place to escape from the world, the woes of the world, and just enjoy. Reconnect with family. Reconnect with your children. Reconnect with your partner. Instead of sitting there on your mobile phone, scrolling endlessly, playing games on your phone. Use this phone to watch the show. Use your phone to scroll through the recipes of this show so that you as a family can actually sit together, make it together. You don't necessarily have to eat together. You all obviously want to go into your own direction, but use this time to actually just bond. Furthermore, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health professional. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a professional chef, even though I've got my training, but I've not really ever really practiced professional chefing in my life, even though I am qualified in my training. Always, with regards to anything medical, check your medication, check with your doctor before you change anything. These are maybe just supplements or alternatives, but if it's going to interfere with your medication or your health, don't do it. I'm here to show you how we can actually bring the family together, save money, and eat healthy. Because believe me, I've done the maths on some of the dishes that I make here that I would get from a takeaway place. And I can make a meal for 4 people that will cost the equivalent of 1 takeaway meal. And food does not have to be complicated. We always forget about the simple things in life. So we always think about fancy, grand. Sweet ass. You can think that way. I like doing a decent kick-ass meal every now and then, but I don't every single day of my life want to slog in the kitchen to get that perfect meal. Sometimes I just do a 1-pot meal or dirty 2 pots. Not I have a whole kitchen full. So that's what this show is going to be about. And if you can hear some tinkling in the background, I do apologize for it. I've got my seafaring pirate here with me on the boat. He's currently eating his dog pellets. I can't stop him. He's hungry when he's hungry, like we are. So we got to feed the hungry lion. So, people, not so predictable, but a little bit predictable today. I'm going to go back to basics with a very basic, simple meal that I grew up with as a takeaway, but mostly it was made at home. But if it was a takeaway, it would have been from the Greek shop or the Portuguese shop, the dairy. They used to make the fish and chips. So I've learned this recipe from a person that did this for a livelihood. I've taken that recipe on board. Uncle Basil is no longer with us for many years. But I've learned how to make what Uncle Basil made in his little fish and chip shop and put his children through university. So yes, you think it's a little bit of a contradiction, supporting takeaways and stuff. Yes, you can. But these are the mums and the pops. Not these big chains. They've got enough money. I might get into trouble. I might have to just edit that out. But with Uncle Basil and having his fish and chip shop, it was still family. Because family would go there. His family would be involved. And that's where I'm drawing it together. It's all about family. It's all about fun. And back in the day, having a takeaway from Uncle Basil's shop didn't break the bank like it does now. You could basically get that fish and chips for slightly more than what you could have made it at home yourself. But that was just a treat. Once a month, maybe. Not every day. While I'm also doing the show, so I want to impart knowledge and history. Because what are we as a people, as a person, if we forget about tradition, history? Who are we? Knowledge are getting lost faster than what we think, because we are all so focused on AI. We are all so focused on technology, fast way of life, that we forget about where we've come from, who we are as a people, as a person, as an individual. Let's not let our whānau, our family, just become a number like we normally are with most other things in life. We're not numbers. We are people with names, with feelings, with flesh and blood, with joy, with sadness, with anger, with exuberance. That's who we are. Otherwise, we might as well just be empty husks of people. For a lot of us, it seems a very long time ago, but it's not a long time ago. We had the First and the Second World War. People survived, people ate, but they were frugal. They didn't waste money. They didn't waste food. They didn't run to fast food outlets. Everything was very well thought through, well prepared, nutritious, and healthy, because you needed to get the most nutrition out of what you had, and you didn't waste. We have become a wasteful society. Just think of how many tons of food goes to waste because we don't think. I'm not here to lecture. I'm going down my lecturing part now. I'm not here to lecture. Let's have fun. And in the process, all these other little bits that I've been saying now in my little lecture will all make sense. And one last thing as well. Whatever is going to be produced out of this kitchen is completely off grid. Completely off grid. Because that's what my way of trying to save and contribute to the survival of our planet. Okay? Enough of me preaching now. Let's have lekker fun. We are going to make traditional beer batter fish and homemade fries for this first episode. Very predictable. And I hope I've caught a couple of ears of hubbies or boyfriends or partners or wives in the background. Beer, beer, beer. So if you don't have a beer, one beer in your house, send hubby to go and get a 6-pack. You take one, he scores 5, and he gets a meal. That's a fair deal, I think. But don't worry. As I said, consult your doctors. If you've got a problem with alcohol or with beer, because I had a very good friend that's a recovered alcoholic, and so I'm quite sensitive to the fact. And whenever they had dinner or came to dinner, we made sure that there was no alcohol in the food and stuff as well. So don't worry if you can't make it with beer, we'll replace it with soda water. But I will show you, besides the batter that we make, that's got to sit in the fridge for a little while, which you can make in the morning, and just put in the fridge, covered, be fine. This meal will definitely take you no longer than 20 to 25 minutes to make. And it will be cheaper than buying 2 pieces of fish and some chips. You call it fries here in New Zealand. I'm going to call it chips because I grew up with it as fish and chips. Very British well, fish and chips. So, homemade fries are not, or chips, are not difficult to make. And it's healthier. It's got no preservatives, no MSGs. In the same time that you will put those fries or those chips in the air fryer or take it out of the freezer, letting it thaw a bit, same time to cook them, but healthier. And trust me, they are a lot more tastier. Because I've just found that these packets of fries, chips that you get these days, is basically mushed air on the inside. There's no substance to it. So let's get down to it. I can't wait. My mouth is watering for this traditional English beer batter fish and homemade chips, which you can serve with vinegar, you can serve with some lemon squeeze on the sides, with tomato sauce, with mayonnaise, chat, whatever condiment you want to use with it. It's up to you. It's yours. And I, in my Saturday gear, will see you shortly to make and show you how it's done. But one last thing. I'm not going to be like all these YouTube channels that's constantly going to remind you of, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you're watching the show, subscribe. It costs you nothing. It's free. I might, in the beginning, once a month or twice a month, just remind you just to get the channel rolling, to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. But thereafter, it's up to you if you want to like or subscribe or hit a notification bell. So my salty dog friends, let's get ready. See you in a moment. Here we've got our lovely hake fish at the moment. It's all lovely and fresh, as we can see. And now what we've got to make sure we do is that we dry it, because that is really part of making sure the fish is nice and crispy. I'll just use a normal fiber cloth. I'll just place it over the fish, dab it dry, and then I'll just flip it over. Turn it around, and just make sure that we get it nicely laid on. Cover it up, and now we are just getting rid of all the moisture in the fish, ready for the batter. here we have got our potatoes boiling that has just been cut into chip size wedges, and that is just a little bit of salt and water, and we're going to boil it for about 5 minutes just to get a little bit of a parboil. A lot cheaper and a lot more healthy than store-bought fries. Okay, our potatoes are been in for 5 minutes. We're just going to switch the heat off. Careful not to burn. Remove it, and then we are just going to pour it off into the colander. Nice and steamy. Let's give it a good old shake. Just get all the water drained out. And then I'm just putting it back on the pot, and it can just sit there until we are ready to start frying our fries. Here we have the batter that we've mixed earlier with all our lovely ingredients. See, it's a little bit runny. It's just come out of the fridge where it's been sitting for about an hour. If there's some lumps, don't be too concerned about it, because it will cook in once you cook it. I've got a little bit of flour in a little container to the side. All I'm going to do is just remove my little cloth. Just put that one side. All we're going to do, excuse the shadows, we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour over the fish, just so that our batter will stick to it. And we're just going to let that rest for a bit, and we'll just pop our batter back into the fridge. And while we've got that going, I've already put some oil in my pan, and I've got oil in my pot getting ready for the fries. So we are going to start heating up the oil. We're going to get started on the fries, which are literally just sort of like sitting here, cooling down a little bit, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, now we're just going to flip the fish, and we are just going to sprinkle it with flour. And just let it sit for a bit. While we've got that going, we are just going to check on how our oil is doing for the fries. And the easiest way to do it is to grab a small little piece of fry, drop it in there, and as you can see, it's busy bubbling, so we are ready to go with that. So what we're going to do is just transfer our lovely fries. Careful not to burn. I just put it in a little bit by little bit. There we go. And it is just bubbling away. I'll just grab my tongs, and I'll just every now and then just give it a little bit of a stir, just to make sure they don't stick. My trusty old mug that I always put my utensils in. Excuse me. And now we are just going to see the heat's a little bit high, so I'm just going to turn it down ever so slightly. There we go, bubbling away. Now next I'm going to start heating up the oil for my fish. There we go. The trick is we need to make sure that the oil is really hot, about 180 to 200 degrees. If you don't have a little thermometer, I'm doing it so we use it with no thermometer tonight. All we're going to be doing is, once we get a little bit of smoke coming off we'll know that it is all ready and set to go. Okay, got a lovely batter here. Just not to overstir it, just give it a little bit of a wipe through. It's all ready. Now, I'm going to take the fish, just dump it in there, give it a good old coat, nice old coating, make sure the fish is nicely covered all over. I just use my hands, you can use a tongue if it's not up your alley. Let's pop it on a plate on the side. I'm just doing 2 portions of fish first tonight. But as you can see, it is quite a bit of the batter. So you can do about 3 or 4 pieces out of this batter if you like. So there we go. Just give it a good old coating. Let it just rest on the side. And give our hands a little quick wipe. I'm lucky enough to have my tap right here next to me. I can just wash our hands clean, and then we are ready. Okay, our fish has been sitting for a little bit. See, there's the batter that's run off, but that's all good. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just take a little bit of this batter and just dip it to the side of the oil. Ah, there we go. It's lovely and warm, not too hot. Our fries are still going in the background over there. Now, what we just do is, I normally just take my spoon, just put a little bit more batter on the side, so it's covered. Then, you can either do this with a tongue, or you can do it by hand. I normally just do it by hand. Just give it a good dumping on the side and then slide it in. There we go. Do the same here. Just slide it in, and there we are going. And then I'll just take a little bit of the batter that's left over, just put it on top. Oil is a little bit too hot. Give it a dump. We'll just bring it down. You can already see it's starting to go golden brown. Our fries are going ahead. I'll just do a swirl there. Now we get our tongs out. And we are just going to flip. Come on. There we go. Go. A little bit of assistance. See, I've tuned the heat down ever so slightly because it always a little bit hot, but you see there's a lovely crispiness to it already. Good old crispy mug. And our fish will be ready in about 4 to 5 minutes. Ready in time for our lovely golden brown homemade fries. And then we are ready to go. So give it a couple of seconds, and we are going to just flip it around. I just use a knife sometimes just to give it a little bit of support, but do what you do. Or you can use a spatula or anything in those lines. So there we go, our fish is getting nice and crispy on the outside. Our fries are going off on that side. And then what I just do is I just got my good old trusty colander here. I just sprinkle a bit of flour in there, and when I take my fish out, I'm going to put it into the colander and just let the oil drain a little bit. Okay, we are going to flip. Don't be afraid of the brakes a little bit. flip it around. Lovely golden brown English beer batter style fish with lovely fries, and we're going to end it off with some lemon, and we're going to add some tomato to it, and we're going to put some lovely vinegar to it, and lovely tomato sauce or ketchup. And there we go, you can see our fries going. And I also normally just eat my fries, just give it a little look to be nice and golden. Depends on how golden you want them. These are nearly ready, and I normally just scoop them out and then let them drain as well. As you can see as well, we are doing a shallow fry, we're not doing a very deep fry. That also reduces the amount of oil around it. So it's entirely up to you if you want a deep fried or if you want a shallow fried. I prefer to do a little bit of a shallow fry. It just works better. Also with my oil, with my fries, I didn't fill the whole pot up. I just did it about a third of the way because there's not that many fries. And as we can see, they are getting ready, and there we are going. Back shortly. And I've got my good old trusty bamboo spoon here, and I'm just gonna scoop the fries out to the colander. A little bit of flour on the bottom just helps a little bit of the absorption. And as we know, we just get a little bit of oil off. You can use a little wire basket if you like, but as we see, this is a show where we are just making do and making use of what we've got. So even if you're on the bush, or if you are camping or on a boat or at home, you can just do it quickly and easily, not too worried. There you go, all ready and set there. And all I do is I just sprinkle a little bit of salt on it, give it a good old toss, and just let it sit there. And our fish is ready, so we're going to pop that off as well. And what you'll see I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the fish directly onto the fries because that is how, ooh, lovely golden brown. I wish you guys could smell this, because that is how fish and chips are served in the UK. The fish on your chips or your fries, whatever you want to call it, give it a couple of more seconds. I think this is a bit brown on the other side. And you basically have to serve this immediately, so bear with me. Okay, our fish is lovely and ready, so I'm just going to pop it out. As you can see, lovely golden brown. Just pop it on top of the fries. Put this monster out, drip a little bit of the oil out. Beautiful and golden brown. Pop it to the side, dusty mug, and let's give this a bit of up. So slice a little bit of lemon. There we go. And with this, we are just going to have a couple of slices of fresh tomato. I'll just do one plate here quickly. Let's grab this. Beautiful golden brown. I'm just going to pop that here for a second. And lovely golden fries with it. Let's have a look. So now you can just have a little bit of malt vinegar of your fries, whatever you want. It's already seasoned. If you want more salt and pepper, you can do that. Lemon is there, your crispy fish is ready, and bon appetit. We'll see you later.